It's kind of almost like hypocrisy, and like kind of what John was saying. It's like a form of betrayal almost, and it's like you know, like I said before, it burns. Well, it really does burn, especially when it's your best friend or your role model.
Yeah.
But what about you guys? Has hypocrisy ever affected like a relationship with your friends or family?
I mean, definitely. I mean, for me, there was this one girl who, you know, when I first met her and we became friends, I thought, you know, we're gonna be really good influence on each other. Like, she seemed like a very good, like, religious person with a lot of the same morals and stuff as I was. But during class one day, like, everybody was talking about cheating, like that was the, you know, that was the moral topic for religion class. And like, she was saying, you know, how bad cheating is and everything, and then later she had like a cheat sheet, and she was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna cheat on this math test, I'm just gonna like do well. And it really hit me, and after that, like, I kind of almost distanced myself from them, because, you know, I didn't want to be a part of that.
My best friend, he is my best friend, and I love him to death, but he always tells me to talk to my parents and have problems, but then, you know, we were talking, and he really doesn't talk to his parents when he has problems. He'd rather, you know, talk to me. So I was like, well, that's really hypocritical of him.
You kind of have to look at the whole spectrum before you call somebody a hypocrite, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, while it may seem easy to see the hypocrisy in others and point the finger at them.
Do we ever stop to think that some of our actions and behaviors could be seen as hypocritical to what we profess to believe?
Do you ever find yourself caught up in hypocrisy?
That's what we ask the teens on the street.
Let's check it out.
Do you ever find yourself caught in hypocrisy?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, a lot.
Yes.
No, I try not to be hypocritical. Oh, yeah, all the time. Everyone has been hypocritical.
Once or twice. Like, to little kids, I'll tell them not to do something, but then I'll go and do it.
Once, yeah, I seemed pretty hypocritical, and then I fixed my mistake.
I assume I have been caught being hypocritical, but I really don't remember.
I'm sure, yeah. I've said I wouldn't do things and then gone out and done it.
Probably, like, because I have a little brother, so, like, if I tell him not to do something in school and I do the same thing, like, I kind of feel bad about it.
Some things I say I don't believe in, but I go back and I do it when no one's around me.
I tell people to stop being vain or greedy, but I mean, I look at myself in the mirror like 50 times a day.
I guess I'd say I do things, and I guess I never get around to them.
Like if I tell my sister to do something and not to do something, and then I turn around and do it, you know?
I'll tell, like, my little cousin not to curse or something, and then, like, when I'm mad, I'll curse.
In school, sometimes I'll tell my friends not to do certain things, possibly cheating on a test. You're not supposed to, but I do it anyway.
Maybe a couple times I've been hypocritical with what I tell my little siblings and my younger siblings about, you know, life decisions and stuff. And I feel as though sometimes I shouldn't say what I say, because if I don't practice it, then why should I tell them?
So what about you guys? Was there a time when you found yourself guilty of hypocrisy?
I think I found myself guilty, as you said, when I try and help younger people than I. Like, I'm not a mentor, but I'm sort of an older sister figure to a freshman in my school. And when she has problems or when she wants to talk about things that she hasn't really told anybody because she trusts me, I always try and give her the best type of advice and try and tell her to find the answer within herself. But when I find myself going through similar problems in my family life, I find that I don't really follow my own advice, and I keep it to myself rather.
I find that I'm a hypocrite with my little brother, because, like, you want your little brother to be good and grow up to do everything right, but then, like, you tell him to do all those things, and then I find, like, it hard to do and be good myself sometimes.
I'm always a person that would, like, always, like, go out to, like, help somebody, like, if they need it. But, like, sometimes, like, if I need help myself and people offer it, I kind of reject it. Kind of a message I'm sending off that's not good.
Well, has anyone ever called you out on your hypocrisies?
My mom tends to call me out on hypocrisy a lot, and I tend to do it back to her, though, too.
My little sister, well, she's not that little, she's 15, but she kind of got this habit of cursing a lot, and I didn't realize how much she did it and how much I did it till I realized, Vanessa, stop cursing, don't do that. And then I was like, ooh, I do it too. So I kind of, like, take it upon myself that, you know, when I want to curse, I'm like, no, don't say it, because then you're going to tell her something, and then she's going to be like, haha, you do it, so I can do it too.
Yeah, with me, a few years ago, I kind of went through depression, but during that time, I'd still go out of my way to help people. But one day, someone looked at me and they were like, well, why aren't you trying to get help for yourself? And I kind of got stopped there because I was like, wait, why am I not getting help? And it was part me thinking I could handle it on my own, and part of me just not wanting to seek it.
I can definitely think that in one of the friendships I've had for a while, it was a 6-year friendship, I wasn't doing what I was telling my friend to do. And I felt bad, and after a while, he did call me out on it, and I thought to myself that, you know, that's not how I should treat my friends. If I respect my friends, the advice I'd give them should be something that I honestly believe and would follow through on myself, unless the situation wouldn't present itself for me in that same way. Yeah. And I think it's exactly what Mary said. It's easier said than done.
Well, with my mom, she always does things and they start to bother me. And I eventually express how it bothers me. And then she points out to me that I actually do the same thing she does. She's like, you're just like me. And I'm like,
yeah.
I didn't even realize I was doing the things that were like bothering her that bother me too. And it's weird because it's like she doesn't tell me, but she shows me, which I kind of like that she doesn't make me feel bad about it.
Like I've heard there's a saying that says like the stuff that you don't like in other people and you're pointing out is the stuff that you actually have wrong with yourself.
Right, right. And it sounds like almost everybody here has, you know, experiences being hypocrites and being called out hypocrites, but it's not like we're the first generation in the history of the world to deal with hypocrisy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. In the Gospel of Matthew, we hear Jesus speaking with deep passion about hypocrisy.
In chapter 23, verse 25, he says, "Woe to you, you hypocrites! You cleanse the outside of cup and dish, but inside they are full of plunder and self-indulgence."
Blind Pharisee, cleanse first the inside of the cup, so that the outside also may be clean.
He is quite pointedly speaking to the disparity of ritual purity and true moral purity.
Many of the people who Jesus was addressing were sticklers for the law, but were blind to the needs of the less fortunate and sometimes brutally unmerciful.
While the days of the Pharisees may long since be past, the hypocrisy that existed then is still very much with us today.
Even in a democratic country where the rule of law attempts to protect everyone equally, hypocrisy can still take a hold of our attitudes and our policies.
Let's go back to our spotlight guest, Ajama, where she discusses how hypocrisy stands in the way of many of the issues that we face as a nation.
Well, I know hypocrisy in our nation here. The Constitution states that we're all equal, we all have equal rights, we should be able to live in this country happily, but then again, you have all these hate crimes and all these, you know, racism and things like that. So for us to say that each one of us, or just a nation as a whole, is a hypocritical nation is wrong, because as a whole we have problems and we have to fix our problems before we can say that, you know, we can help someone else's problems or say that we don't have any problems at all. A big issue now today is immigration. I've heard that they don't want people immigrating from Mexico and South America to America because they're stealing, you know, our work and money, when a lot of people in this country, natives in this country, have started from the bottom and they've worked hard to where they are at. And unfortunately, those from, you know, over the border have had it hard, and their way of trying to get to the top is to come over here and work for as little as, you know, the minimum wages, and for us as a nation to attack them for trying to help themselves out and their families is hypocritical.
I think everyone at times can be hypocritical, whether they mean to be or not. And I think to realize that you could possibly be a hypocrite is looking within for the answer, realizing I tell this person to do this, do I do the same thing? And it can be difficult, and we will slip up at times.
I think it's difficult, though, to be introspective when you have a large group of people, such as a government or maybe a business or a body that's more than one person, because it requires time and it requires honesty. And I think that, especially when there's a power struggle involved or a person of power who you respect or you maybe even fear, it's difficult to confront that because there could be some kind of repercussion. So it's just a matter of being wise as to when to address people's hypocrisy.
You know, I kind of agree with that because, you know, in like today's society, and maybe even before that, like, honesty is like a really hard thing to come, because we all want things that we really want, and we really don't think about other people. So in order to address hypocrisy, there would be have to be a huge change in society, as a government, as a country, or even as a world.